Hey everyone. So this is also on my mind. What makes a shooter truly strategic? Now, for years, I've been, I've played various shooters. And like the earliest is, Doom One. Although I wouldn't like the earliest that I saw it played was, about 95, 96 was my cousin actually playing because, my uncle was pretty lenient on the games that he was able to play. And I played that, quite a few years later, but, I did see, him play it anyway. Um, the next game would be, Counter Strike, which I think that's the shooter that I got heavily into when I was in high school. And then shortly thereafter, I got into Killzone 1. And I did also get to see a little bit of the SOCOM community and a little bit of, Ghost Recon and whatnot. So, I think that my biggest question here is, what truly makes a shooter strategic? Um, Now, take Call of Duty, for example. Go into a multiplayer game nowadays, and any sort of team deathmatch game, you'll end up, um, you know, I guess perfect example is that if you're equipped with a sniper rifle, you're running around the map, and if you're equipped with an assault rifle or an LMG, you're camping in a corner. It makes absolutely no sense um, in a modern military strategy, but it's for some reason that's how it works, and I've really um, even with Call of Duty 4, that's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was the best Call of Duty game is by this community by and large, but you still get for me playing that, I just still don't see the exact draw to it. The whole problem is that when you're trying to accomplish a goal, you have to find different ways to accomplish it. If you're just running forward to essentially capture an objective and that's it, or shoot bad guys, that's really not too much to the strategy. But when you can coordinate with your team to be able to create different tactical movement abilities, say if you were to send three guys to the left side of the map and have them kind of rush in, and have one guy run back, and if three guys can create a firewall, sorry, this a wall of fire or anything like that to try and get enemy to start, just trying to suppress the enemy to go through a certain corridor while the sniper picks them off. That's a little bit more for strategy. That kind of thing I really started to see in Killzone. And, obviously games like SOCOM and even, quite a bit in Counter Strike. Although some public servers, not it's kind of tends to lean towards the Call of Duty side. Um, and even Battlefield, it definitely, I think the Battlefield series still lacks that ability. Um, and for something like that, it doesn't. Um, it leans on two factors. One is the game mode, obviously. Team deathmatch, it's just not a very strategic thing. Um, Capture the flag is a little bit more, a little bit more strategic, but not so much now. Although you can come up with a lot of crazy different things to fool the opposition into thinking, oh, we've got perfect control of our base, until your guys or one of your guys ends up nabbing the flag, while either your team has suppressed or has actually died protecting the carrier to get the flag out of their base and into their into your guys' base. And I've seen teams where they all took bullets. They all took bullets. They let the team kill them while their other guy was taking a long way around and have it race all the way back, and then have everyone else run to kind of create a wall in between the carrier and the enemy. So that's always a nice thing to see. Other modes that I've seen, like a zones gameplay, something like Killzone. It's always managed to have that sort of mode. It's territorial advantage. You have to try and figure out, okay, which zones can we still hold on to kind of hold a majority of the map in order to win this game. It stems from Killzone 1 and 2 or 3 different modes from what I remember, to like Killzone 2 and 3 where it's capture and hold, and so on and so forth. And then what other? Well, Warhawk was another good one that had its own zones mode where it had various levels of zones around the huge maps, where if you ended up getting like 2 or 3 like to a second or third level of a town or something like that, you can spawn out the larger vehicles and whatnot. You have full weapon capability, so that was always pretty neat for Warhawk. And Starhawk kind of continued that, not so much with increasing the amount of weapons to your disposal, because when you're supposed to be building the towns and whatnot yourself. But for that, they did a way to essentially take over the entire map, and if you capture all of the zones and enemy has none, they can't spawn in. Game over. You make it quick. So that was one improvement on the zones game type that I really liked. Other than that, I think that just the game modes and what players can do to essentially fool the enemy into kind of a false sense of security. That's one of the that's the biggest draw to certain kind of shooters. Otherwise, I really don't play Call of Duty or even Battlefield anymore, because just in any sort of game that seriously limits half of a map into corridors where there are only 1 or 2 ways to get from one side of the map to another. It's just totally not worth the time to really put in a sort of power struggle to get across the map. And by the time that if your team manages to take control of that half, they pretty much have control of the entire map. And how would the opposing team be able to defend itself without trying to use external areas out of the map of the map? Say if a game type were only built upon 2 square blocks of some city in Afghanistan or something like that, and where if one of the teams were forced back to their spawn, why wouldn't they just get outside of the map and start shooting out from outside in to try and take back that portion of the map, or even just kind of go around it, if you know what I mean. And that's, I might not be describing that too well, but that's essentially some of the map design too is kind of a little bit of a factor in just how players can interact in the game. So essentially, I just kind of thought that it was that would be probably the best fuel for any sort of reason why people shouldn't really bother playing Call of Duty or even Battlefield. But and just let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching once again.